and it's in the breaking we come unbound. And it's in the giving we are found. Yeah, you could barely change.
Welcome to A Medicinal Mind, Wisdom and Wellbeing, a podcast dedicated to the telling of authentic stories and the sharing of insightful wisdom, exploring science and spirituality, medicine and Mother Nature. No topic is off limits when it comes to growing our personal understanding and supporting our collective well-being. With your host, Dr. Rob Abbott, a family medicine resident practicing spiritually focused and evolutionarily informed functional medicine, we hope to nourish your being so that you can flourish in whatever the moment has called for you to do.
And I know you tried.
In episode 40 of A Medicinal Mind, Wisdom and Wellbeing, I have one of my most inspiring conversations with one of the leading visionaries in integrative and functional medicine, Kyle Braatz. Kyle is the co-founder of the wellness platform and online nutraceutical dispensary, Fullscript, and his radical approach to wellness is changing how integrative medicine is practiced. In the podcast, you will hear some of Kyle's fascinating background, including some of the early inspiration behind his love of creation and pursuit of meaningful service. From biking across Canada to raise money for those in need, to laying the foundations for Fullscript, Kyle's life is one full of passion and relentless curiosity. As we dig deeper into the conversation, Kyle shares his definition and vision for health. What are the most essential components, and where can we start today to improve our health? We then get into the vision, mission, and ethos behind the wellness platform, Fullscript. What exactly is Fullscript? Is it for doctors, patients, or both? How and why should clinicians be using Fullscript to better serve their patients? Who currently are the greatest utilizers? And where did you even get the name Fullscript in the first place? Kyle even offers us a sneak peek into a little look at what it's like to be a team member at Fullscript, and how they seek to support each other's wellness, and the overall importance of self-care. We also explore some of the biggest challenges facing healthcare delivery, and how Fullscript is seeking to address these issues with some creative and innovative solutions. As you will hear in the show, I am incredibly grateful for all the team members at Fullscript for providing an integrative wellness platform that allows me to better serve my patients. And it was an honor to share this conversation with Kyle. I deeply encourage all clinicians to explore Fullscript and incorporate this platform into your practice. And I even urge any interested patients to share the utility of Fullscript with your doctor or clinician. And with that, let's get into the show. Well, Kyle, thank you for joining me today for what I think is going to be a really amazing and insightful podcast. So thanks for carving out some time to talk with me.
I appreciate it, Rob. Thanks for the invite.
So I want to give you some time here at the beginning to share perhaps a little bit of your story, going back as far as you want to kind of share really the formative experiences behind your current work and current calling, because something tells me there's a good story behind what you're doing now.
Yeah, I think, looking towards university, just a normal kid growing up. And then while I was at university, I actually wanted to be a firefighter. My dad's a firefighter, and he convinced me to go to university first, and then I could become a firefighter if I want. And while I was in school, someone close to me, like my grandfather, passed of cancer. And I decided that I really wanted to do something to honor his life. I decided that, I'd cycle across Canada and raise all kinds of money for the cause. And then realized that cycling across Canada isn't that big a deal. I mean, lots of people do it, and you're not going to inspire people by cycling. So I took a step back and said, if we're going to do this, and myself and 3 friends, we need to do it right. And we need to invest in making it special and actually making an impact. And so what we did is we really built it like a business, except all of the profits would go to the Canadian Cancer Society. So we partnered with firefighters across the country, because firefighters, being more susceptible to cancer because of the toxins they face in the workplace. So they would support the cause and really be the distribution channel into every community that we'd come into. So they would parade us in, and they'd have events set up and really kind of have the pre-fundraising done. And I went out and I actually hired someone to build a brand behind it and build, web properties and all of the things that needed to be done to support the venture. And the individual that I ended up hiring ended up being my co-founder, from then on, and my co-founder in our business today, Fullscript, Brad. The last part of it was, to make it successful, was we wanted to put a face to the cycle. And so at each one of our stops, we would honor an inspiring Canadian who'd battled cancer. But we wouldn't tell the story of, the fight that they went through in battling, because we all know how challenging that is, and how much support someone needs through that. We wanted to tell the story of how they inspired the lives of people close to them, how, their grandfather inspired the grandchild, how the sister inspired her brother, that kind of story. We wanted to talk about the impacts that they made within while they were living, or even after they successfully battled cancer. And in doing that, we ended up raising about $150,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society. And that was the realization for me that, though I'd love to be a firefighter, that my calling, what I love doing, was building things from the ground up and being a part of something a little bit bigger than myself. And so from there, Brad and I continued to work together. We had a couple different ventures that turned into successful businesses that we ended up selling. But there was always, one missing piece with those other companies and those other ventures, and it was that impact that we were making, and what was the measurement of success. And after we sold our business, we kind of looked at each other and said, whatever we do next has to be something we can do for the rest of our lives, something we can wake up every single day and really care. And that's how Fullscript was born.
It's such a wonderful story. I'm sitting here almost sort of laughing inside, thinking about, that passion to be a firefighter. And you can describe firefighters in any number of ways, but one of them is, sort of preserving what's already in place, trying to preserve a burning building, or, say a forest that's under flames, but preserving something that's already present. And you decided along that journey that you really wanted to be, you were actually okay with sort of the burning process, and more interested in the creation of renewal, and not being limited by that burning or that death, and growing from it. So I think it's kind of interesting that you found that amidst that initial passion of being a firefighter, and then within there too, the idea of that story behind the story. Right? You weren't interested in telling the story that you knew was there, as you alluded to, behind the cancer patients, struggle with the disease and the disease process. And, you knew of that story. You didn't know the details of it, but you knew of that. And so what you were interested in was that story behind the story, which I think kind of alludes to the whole process of integrative and functional medicine, is of, okay, I know the symptoms are there. I acknowledge them, but I'm more interested in the root causes that I can't immediately see. And they're going to take a little bit more effort and time to dig into. And I don't know, I just like to draw these parallels about what you found now in your current passion at Fullscript. And I'll personally say, it's been just so wonderful to find people in this integrative space who share that same passion, but maybe on the surface doing things that are entirely different than what your day-to-day is, but are supporting you and supporting each other in that process. And so one of the things that we talked about off air was actually the real vision and kind of slogan or sorts behind the name Fullscript. It seems obvious now that you told me, but I didn't realize it at the beginning. And perhaps you could talk about you've alluded to some of the vision, but kind of the mission and values of Fullscript, and really, what does Fullscript even mean?
Yeah, you mentioned the everyday people that are in this industry, and we're all doing different things. And I think that's one of the keys to this industry and why it's going to be successful, and why the only way it's going to be successful is the fact that we have pioneers, we have people dedicated to the evolution of medicine. And I always compare it to evolving medicine to be more holistic, to be more integrative. It's like pushing a boulder up the mountain, and it's going to take every single one of us to get behind that boulder and start pushing. And that's the real exciting thing about this industry and being a part of this community. And it really is a community. And for us at Fullscript, our mission is to take the hassle out of integrative medicine. Take the hassle out of practicing it, because that's hard, but also take the hassle out of consuming it for the patient, because that's really hard. When you compare the act of taking a pharmaceutical once a day to changing your diet, changing your exercise, or exercising more, meditating, taking supplements, that is a challenge. And so for us, our real mission is, how do we take the hassle out of integrative care, out of holistic care, both for the practitioner and for the patient?
Yeah. I think we also talked a little bit about this before, is that what you're trying to do is actually relatively complex, as you're interacting with both the practitioner, trying to help them, and creating a platform that's beneficial to their practice and supporting them, but also trying to create something that's going to be helpful to the patient. And sometimes the needs of the patient and the practitioner are drastically different. And it takes a lot of effort and thought behind developing different processes. And it's something you've done, I think, tremendously, is evolving in that space, but really going to the patients and going to the practitioners and asking them, how can we support you? What can we do to change our platform? And maybe this is the best segue as well into sort of getting into kind of the practical nature behind really what Fullscript is, and what what service that you're providing to the practitioner and the patient.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said evolution, right? Even the evolution of Fullscript to where we are today is just that. It's a complete evolution. And even our vision and our commitment to this space, it wasn't there right from the start. When we first started Fullscript, we were really just solving my co-founder's wife, who's a naturopathic doctor. We were solving one of her problems. So she was opening a new clinic, and as a naturopathic doctor, dispense supplements from her clinic. So she would carry inventory. When a patient would come in, she would dispense the products that patient would need, and then the patient would have to monitor and get those refills. So many challenges as a practitioner who got into medicine because she wanted to change people's lives. She wanted to help people on a path to wellness, and now really has to have a retail store within a clinic. And so Brad and I said, well, we can solve that. Let's virtualize, or let's put inventory in centralized warehouses across North America, and we'll build an e-commerce platform where practitioners can send their patients, so they don't have to worry about the inventory, and patients can find the products that they need and check out and get all of the refills and stay a little bit more adherent to their plan. And as we got more invested in this community and saw the difference between conventional medicine, where a practitioner recognizes a symptom and prescribes a pharmaceutical, to integrative or holistic medicine, where a practitioner recognizes a symptom and looks for the root cause of that symptom, and then treats that root cause and supports the patient on a path to wellness with diet, exercise, lifestyle change, supplements, etc. As we saw that evolution and were more convinced that was the path and the evolution of where medicine needed to go, we realized that we needed to do a much better job in committing to a larger vision, and not just being an e-commerce store for practitioners to dispense supplements, but really being a wellness management platform that makes it easy for practitioners to practice and prescribe the Fullscript, and even easier for the patient to consume and stay dedicated to their path to wellness. And that's what drives us every day, is how do we take the hassle out of integrative medicine on both sides.
Wow, I've talked to a few of the founders and employees and people behind Fullscript, and I've just been blown away from the beginning by the authenticity and desire to help me as a practitioner. And I will say, right now I'm a resident physician with arguably no time, but have a tremendous passion for wanting to help my patients and give them that wellness plan. And to be honest, the structure with Fullscript allows me to do that. I can embed a personalized message with, and attach their, wellness plan with supporting handouts or documents that will, inform them on the foods and things that I want them to eat. And then embedded in that, all in that one message is the specific supplements and exactly how to take them. And it's, I've got some really good feedback from patients that I'm working with that it's really simple. And for me, I need a way to make this, to improve my time efficiency, and it's really been the single greatest thing for me as a practitioner. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And despite the tremendous passion that I have for recognizing the role for certain nutraceuticals and other supplements, and creating a true Fullscript, if I didn't have a platform like Fullscript, I would be hard pressed to be doing what I'm doing, at least right now in my current state of training. And I've been blown away from the beginning too with the evolution, seeing where this has come and adding new features like you've done to help practitioners see, similar types of supplements and build in protocols and things that make it even easier once you get that first degree of familiarity with the platform to make this just simply routine. And my hope, and I think our shared vision, we'd love to get your thoughts on this, is we need to expand this, and you're already beginning to expand it beyond just naturopathic, doctors and naturopathic clinics. I see this becoming, almost standard in family medicine clinics and internal medicine clinics, and I want to remove those barriers. So perhaps you can, provide some insight onto what you see as the future and evolution of Fullscript, and maybe perhaps interject what you see as the primary barriers for that happening.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, and as a CEO of the company and co-founder, when we look at the product that we're building, we're never happy with it. I know it solves a problem for most of our practitioners, and it's a great product. But when you're not happy, you're always evolving, and I think that's a positive. And I think the sky's the limit with the value this platform can provide on both sides for practitioners and patients. And it's just going to take that constant commitment that we have, that forever commitment, meaning we're not just trying to build a company that is sold off in 3 to 5 years. It's a company that we're committed to building for the rest of our lives. And when you take that commitment, then you can get there. And so when you ask, when we talk about the evolution of medicine, you're right on the money that this isn't just for naturopathic doctors. Our second biggest practitioner type on the platform is actually medical doctors, and it's by far our fastest growing. So if you think about functional medicine, the functional medicine community has been absolutely incredible when it comes to the adoption of Fullscript. And we're really seeing this curve of adoption amongst MDs and osteopaths and nurse practitioners that is unlike any other practitioner type in the market. And I think we're seeing it, or one of the biggest indicators for me that's really exciting is the hospital systems and their adoption of integrative medicine and their adoption of Fullscript. So we're working with hospital systems who are saying, hey, in order for us to be as successful as an organization, we need to keep patients out of the hospital. And how are we going to do that? Well, they're setting up, the way they're doing it is they're setting up integrative and functional medicine clinics to support patients on a path to wellness. And we're working directly with these hospital systems to be their platform for recommending and dispensing wellness as a whole, supplements, nutraceuticals, and all of those other pieces. And so to see that path where now it's not only naturopathic doctors, as we were back in 2012, and in 2018, we're now working with hospital systems. We're now working with conventional practitioners who are converting to functional medicine practitioners, and we're working with all of the pioneers in the industry who have really made this type of medicine a little bit more mainstream. And the goal is, yes, to make it a part of the standard of care. and get everyone behind. I don't want to say standard, but this is the way medicine is practiced, and get everyone behind that boulder. Because if the entire community could get behind this boulder, it'd be up over the mountain. And so, in doing that, it's not going to happen overnight. And we need to do things as a company to support and make it easy for practitioners to evolve the way they practice. So a perfect example and a starting point to at least get some of these conventional practitioners invested in this type of medicine is to connect into electronic health records. So be where the practitioner lives and provide a little bit of decision support. So when a practitioner is prescribing a pharmaceutical, a conventional practitioner, maybe we can start to show them and help them recognize some of the nutrient deficiencies caused and make it easy for them to recommend a nutraceutical that can help combat those deficiencies. It doesn't completely change the way they're practicing, but it starts to get them interested and intrigued by functional medicine or integrative medicine. And that intrigue can grow into something that completely evolves the way they practice.
It's so true. I mean, I'm willing to be patient. Like you said, you recognize these things take time, but at the same time, I love how you shared, I'm never happy with our platform and our product. And I think that's the biggest piece, is recognizing, yes, we're all willing in this community to be patient, but we're not going to stop pushing that boulder. And hey, if we get more people behind it in our community, we're going to get that over the top, and it'll start to roll and roll and roll with inertia more than we could ever imagine. And, so I'm just sitting here thinking it seems completely radical that this is being put into healthcare systems. Some people might be listening and being like, are you kidding me? Like, this is going to be integrated into the traditional sort of hospital setting. And I think of it as in practicing in that environment, it would be so wonderful to have something that's already started when somebody's a hospitalized patient. Give them that Fullscript, get them started on that path, show them the types of foods, even introduce those, the nutraceuticals and supplements at that stage, provide the education when they are, a hospitalized patient, and then send them on their way and continue to support them as an outpatient practitioner, but send them on their way with a completely new vision, and new set of ideals that will help them remain well. It really can be, the limits are just, endless when you think about the spaces that this can be introduced into. It's really not just, like you said, the outpatient environment, or even, the naturopathic doctor, the medical doctor. It's, there's so many settings in which we can change. And some people maybe look at that and say, there's no way you can change the hospital system or change the system. But I think we have to try, because we recognize that this really is the future. If we really want to find solutions to what appears to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest issue facing, our respective nations, this increasing cost of healthcare and burden of disease, we have to do it. There's really nothing else that we have out there. We don't have any solution. So we need to start and push these values and grow a community. So thank you for being willing to do things that people probably, for things that, people are looking at you and saying, what is this guy doing again? He's, what is his reason for doing this? There's no way that would work.
Well, it's funny though. A lot of people don't realize that leaders within these health systems and hospital systems, their mindsets are shifting. They're shifting their businesses from being volume based to being value based, because that's actually how they're going to make more money as a business. They realize that the way the old model, the old business models of the way things are done aren't going to be in the future. And so if they're going to move from volume-based systems to value-based systems, what are they investing in? As I said, they're investing in functional medicine. They're investing in integrative medicine. They're investing in changing the way they're doing things. And so this isn't just us trying to push it up to these leaders. Most of this is actually a pull. It's a pull from the CEOs and CFOs of these organizations. It's also a pull from the practitioners who are joining these hospital systems. So it's practitioners who were doing their own practice and then end up getting hired into a hospital system who is investing in integrative medicine and start pulling groups like Fullscript into it to make it even more successful. So it may sound crazy because it's at this we're at the start of a more value-based business model or a value-based system, but it's here, and it's just a matter of time for maybe some of the smaller health systems to start to recognize that and join in. So we're kind of on that. I think that first domino Whereas we start to work with some of these initial hospital systems, prove out their integrative clinics that are outside the hospital system, take what we learned from those integrative clinics and build it into the actual other practitioners that are working within the hospital systems, and build levels of standards of care that support them doing their job in a more value-based way. It's just a matter of time. So we just gotta that initial dominoes kind of wagging back and forth. But once it falls, it's gonna fall. It's gonna fall quick, and but it may take some time for that first one to fall. But I think it is just a matter of time.
Well, I can't wait, and I'm more than willing to be a part of that process of the boulder, the domino, whatever metaphor analogy we choose. I'm willing to be involved in that process, knowing there are people like you with such an authentic and inspirational passion for doing it too. And I want to honor your time, knowing you're an incredibly busy person. I have a couple more questions. Hopefully, we can get to close out our conversation. The first is, I'm starting to, in my mind at least, make a few assumptions, but something's telling me if you're, the CEO of a company that's pushing and providing a platform for integrative, holistic, functional medicine, whatever you call it, that's how you live your life. And I know you are such a passionate individual, and I've did a little digging before the podcast, and so at least a brief video of that authentic you, sharing some of that journey and that story and those values behind, what it is that you do. And would love for you to, perhaps take this time. You can be as personal as you want, but share with the audience, what is keeping you well? What gives you the strength to do what you do, to keep pushing that boulder? Because something tells me, like I said before, I think you could be working 29 hours a day if you wanted to, or you'd find the time, but you recognize the need for self-care and investing in things that will keep you well.
Yeah, I think first of all, the general idea of wellness and staying active and eating right, practice what I preach for sure. But I think what's really interesting is the type of culture that we create here at Fullscript and just everyone individually here. I would say most business leaders will measure their success by the value of the business they create, where I think we measure our success based on the people we impact. And I think having a little bit more of a community-driven company, an authentically driven company, just thinking a little bit different helps, makes it easier for us to actually create or live that health and wellness mindset. So just to back up a little bit, we work, 1/3 of our lives. And so the key for me to being focused on health and wellness and the people around me to be committed to that too, is to change the way we look at work, change the culture in which, work is done. Really just, I think, look at everything a little bit differently. So for example, at Fullscript, we don't have hours of operation. We have a rule that says, don't screw over your team. We have a job to do. We all put our hands in the middle and we commit to it. And that mindset of, hey, it's not just a 9 to 5 and you come in and you put in the hours. It's really a commitment to what we're doing. But we need you to be healthy. We need you to be well. We need your mind to be free. And if on Monday you're not feeling good because something in your life happened, or because just that day wasn't right for you, you don't have to be at work, right? We are all adults, and we can self-govern and have a company that values people's health and wellness beyond just giving great benefits and doing all these extracurriculars. It's really a mindset, which is the old days, as I said, where you got to be there from 9 to 5. You have to follow the rules, this and that. Where I don't believe that that's right, because on today's Tuesday, tomorrow I just may not feel right. I may my head may not work the same way, and I shouldn't be I don't have to be at work that day that's a rest day for me. That's a day I'm going to take off. I'm going to recharge, and I'm going to be back at the office stronger than ever. So, long story short, I don't know really how I was going to get to where I was going to get to, but overall, I think my commitment to health and wellness and practicing what I preach starts with building a really strong culture at Fullscript that actually truly is about what's best for the community of people here. It's about being authentic and not just putting rules in place for the sake of rules, but building an environment where everyone feels good, everyone feels committed. It's very family oriented. And I think that culture and that commitment to measuring success based on the impacts we make on people allows us to be more committed to our health and not be swayed by working 80 hours a week and because we have to hit this certain business metric. I find actually when we measure our success based on the people we impact, our business metrics are much stronger than they would be if we were working 80, 90 hours a week.
Man, I had an inkling that was going to be to some degree your answer. I've talked with a few of the employees and other members of your amazing team as part of my sort of entry into getting involved with Fullscript, and they bleed that same authenticity, and they seem happy. They seem so well and interested and passionate about their work. So what you just said, building that ethos of community and sharing that, and kind of there's like a degree of self-regulation. It's like, look, we're like you said, we're all adults here, and we share the same values. And I know I'm not going to be very productive today if I'm feeling crappy or something happened over the weekend. So let me take that dedicated time, renew myself, and then come back stronger than ever, because it's going to only better my environment. I think we oftentimes bring too much baggage into the workplace. I mean, I see it all the time in the different environments as part of my training, and it takes a lot of energy to, I think, self-regulate and be aware of it. So it's so refreshing to hear, at least from the from you, that you really put that much time and energy and effort to want to build that community and have people really be invested. It seems like that should be the way for all of these businesses, but I think it's unfortunately not as common as it should be.
I think there's two pieces. One is you have to have a long-term mindset. Those short-term mindset businesses that are, that have certain owners or investors that require, a return within 5 years. They have that short-term mindset, where we have that long-term, forever vision, and that makes it a lot easier to think a little bit differently. I think the other piece, you mentioned that you spoke to some of our employees, and even terminology. We don't talk about employees. We're all teammates, and just those little bit of different nomenclature and I think really helps. Community as a whole is a huge core value for us. I'm not sure if you ever heard the saying, everyone wears an invisible sign around their neck that says, "I want to feel important." And that's a huge driver for everyone here, internally and externally. How, we don't want anyone at Fullscript walking into the office, tapping on their computer and going home, right? We want you to feel like, hey, we recognize you, we care about you, you're part of this group. Because just having that, when you think about the impacts you make on people's lives, that your health and wellness is so connected to just that feeling of involvement, that feeling of community. It's extremely important here, and it goes all the way back to the charity we started when we were in school, a charity that I helped start in honor of one of my best friends who was murdered. We helped found this charity called Noel's Gift 5 years ago, and it's now raised over $1.25 million. And as we look back, I now look at the amazing people we have here. So we have over 70 plus teammates here at Fullscript, and every one of the events that we do, be it a Christmas party or anything else, everyone here is raising money, and they're not only raising money, but they're raising money for the people around them. We have teammates whose loved ones are battling cancer, and we're raising money to send them and subsidize their costs at the Ottawa Integrative Cancer Center. And this is now happening without me being the one pushing it, because everyone has embraced that that's what this group is. It's all about the community. It's making people feel important, but it's also going externally and doing things that we are. I look at it as an obligation. We're fortunate enough to have this opportunity. We should be giving back. not only should we be getting behind the boulder and helping push that up the mountain, but every little piece, if it's helping someone subsidize their care, that's one step towards pushing that boulder up, right? Every little piece that we can do is crucial. And I think the other key core value that we have here is authenticity, right? It's the ability to question why, which is, I think, one of the greatest traits of our practitioners, which, they are the most authentic practitioners in the ecosystem, because they said, I don't believe the way things are done today should be done this way. I'm going to do them differently. And you can't get much more authentic than that.
Yeah.
But the other piece is what I value here at Fullscript is everyone here has the ability, and it's promoted for them to be their authentic self. And I think that's where we lose each other when in the corporate world, when you go work for a big bank or some major corporation, you can't be your authentic self. You come in, you have to follow the rules. You have these certain guidelines. And, our guidelines are really our core values, which are community, authenticity, and ownership. And if you follow the guidelines of those core values, you be your authentic self, you care about the community internally and externally, and you take ownership, you don't need any other rules, because it's self-governed. So I think that authentic self and the ability to be your authentic self helps so much when it comes to, your day-to-day health and wellness.
Wow, your team, the collective team, the teammates, I think they're so lucky to have you, and they're lucky to have each other. I mean, that that just nature of authenticity and equality and giving to each other, it's so tremendous. I'm just sitting here like amazed, and hope to build a similar sort of ecosystem and community in my future clinic space. I would love to have that, I kind of call it the tribe or the team, that just shared value and vision, and you turn over one stone, and then all of a sudden, or topple one domino, and things fall into place without you even having to sort of initiate anything, because you just that energy, that passion is permeating all things. It's really, really wonderful. I'm sitting here too. I'm just really thankful you've taken this much time to talk with me, and perhaps there's people listening, both as interested practitioner, or even student who is interested in Fullscript, or even a patient, someone a layperson who's like, wow, why doesn't my doctor utilize this platform? And would want to give you the time, at least now, to maybe speak to both of those individuals and how they can get involved or learn more about Fullscript, one as a clinician, or two as a patient wanting to introduce it. Because to be honest, I think some of the greatest ideas I've been given have come from people outside of the healthcare community. They've come from friends, they've come from patients. And so I think we can't just limit ourselves to sharing these ideas because we're stuck in a medical space. But can you offer any advice for both people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one advice from a practitioner perspective is Fullscript is a free platform, and it's one where we have a group of individuals here, customer success reps, who are really dedicated to helping a practitioner figure out the best way to use Fullscript in their practice, and should consider. I think when you consider Fullscript, it's really about making it easy for your patient, making sure your patients stay adherent to their programs, helping patients, refill. Because I think patient success in integrative medicine, if we have patient success, that's when this type of care and the evolution of medicine is really going to start. Is when patients are getting better. So I would say, if you're interested in learning more about functional integrative medicine and interested in learning more about the platform, it's really just head over to fullscript.com and reach out to one of our customer success reps and let them really understand your practice, how you're doing things, because everyone is different, right? There are no standards. Everyone practices a little bit different, has different, some have admins, some don't have admins, some have multiple practitioners, some don't. Some see patients for half an hour, some see for an hour, and all of these different ways of practicing need to be considered as you're thinking about integrating, Fullscript into your practice. It's not just it shouldn't just be, hey, jump in and start using. I mean, that's easy and you can do that, but I would definitely recommend having one of our reps help you figure out the best way for you to use it. Because really, in the end, what it becomes is a great tool for adherence. When you write that full script and you get it in the hands of the patient, you really get an opportunity to ensure your patients stay adherent to their health, have that success, and I think my recommendation would just I would urge you to work with one of our customer success reps to customize it to your practice. And from a patient's perspective, I mean, I think, like you said, as a clinician, you want to hear about ways that you can improve your practice. But and improving your practice is, improving your patient's health. So recommending to practitioners who are not using a tool like Fullscript to check it out, I think is a great step towards consuming medicine and using the Fullscript wellness platform.
I will personally say, I loved my initial experience getting sort of onboarded with Fullscript. Like you said, it's fairly seamless to use. You can kind of use it out of the box, so to speak, and get started. But, I spent, I think, a good 30, 40 minutes on the phone with, I can't remember, I think it was Tyler, but one of those, amazing teammates of yours who guided me and was helping me sort of see, right now where I'm at least in my level of training and practice, what's going to be the best way, how can I best utilize Fullscript and see how that's going to evolve. And so it's really personalized. Everyone, at your team who I've interacted with has just been so helpful. So do not be intimidated if you're a practitioner. You will get a personalized experience. It is really, it's been life-changing to have that support and kind of weave my own story into your community, Kyle. So please, practitioners, don't be intimidated, and you will get a great experience from the Fullscript team. So, well, Kyle, this, like I said, has been a wonderful episode. Just conversation with you. I really enjoyed it. I want to at least give you this last time now to share perhaps any final stories, maybe a story from a practitioner or a patient, but any final story or words of advice, wisdom that you think would benefit this audience?
I appreciate you having me on and giving this opportunity to chat a little bit about Fullscript. Overall, I think, it's not just one story that really gets me. As I said, I don't know if I mentioned, but, my co-founder and I had done a couple businesses before, and we woke up and we were excited about the building, but once it was built and it was operationalized, it was hard to get excited. And I think it was because we were missing that impact and that community, and to see this community rally together when we make certain statements about the authenticity of our brand and our commitment to pushing that boulder up the mountain at any cause, and to see the LinkedIn messages I receive and different messages I receive from practitioners, thanking me and my team for doing what we're doing in our commitment. Those things mean so much to me and to the group here. Those little tiny messages that just say thank you. And, we reciprocate. I think it's not just us doing it. As I said, we all are doing this together. And to see practitioners and give them a big high five at the conferences, or our supplier partners who are contributing, their resources to making this successful, to have that community and that group that we can, rely on. And I think that, to me, is that kind of that last thought. It's a thank you to our practitioners, to our patients, to our suppliers, to our EHR partners, to the greater ecosystem that we're all committed to. I think, I thank you for letting us be a part of it, and looking forward to seeing, what we do next together.
So well said again. I can't wait to meet you in person. I know our paths will cross at some venture, some conference, some get together within this, greater ecosystem. And I can't wait to thank you in person, and just continue to share in that gratitude and sharing of gifts, recognizing we all need to share our individual talents to grow this ecosystem into something that's even more beautiful. So I extend and receive that reciprocated gratitude, because I certainly feel it. So thanks.
Thank you.
Well, please go back and, go and extend that thank you to the rest of your team, and I hope you continue to keep serving others in your local community. And thanks again for taking the time.
Sounds great. Thanks, Rob.
All right. Talk to you later, Kyle.
Take care.
Thank you for your presence and willingness to receive a new narrative, a passionate perspective, and perhaps a deeper sense of connection with our collective purpose. Please share this podcast with any and all that you believe will benefit from its intention to relieve one's doing and engage one's being. Please share your comments about the conversation on our podcast page and leave a review in iTunes so that the voices in this space can spread to all ears ready to receive it. Music credit goes to Dillingham for their song Vessel. Remain open, stay curious, and forever be love.
You walked on fire, and I know you tried.